Hi, my name is Daphne, and I am actually in the garden right now over here by my yarrow section. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? They're all about to flower right now, and I think the soil must be somewhat dry because they're all kind of leaning over. That or they're getting really top heavy because they're about to put on their flowers. This actually would be the perfect time to cut them and just let them resend up more shoots and do what they're going to do. But I might leave them and let them flower and just take half the population of this in any case. I'm actually just doing a garden tour. I'm actually going to water and add a little bit of fertilizer to the soil because for the next 2 days we are supposed to be getting rain. So I'm going to take you guys on a tour, let you guys see the garden and how the plants are doing. The night temperatures have been dropping to like the 40s and the 50s, so there isn't a whole lot of growth with some of the new growth or some of the new plants. But I do want to show you guys around and see what's happening in the garden space, and then also what's happening inside of the house. I do have some seedlings that need to be up-potted. I'm starting the squash in the house as well as the collards, which have gotten huge. And so a lot of those plants are in the house right now. They will be in there for about another month, and then I will move them out. So I'm going to show you guys what they look like as well. In general, we're just going to do a garden tour for mid-April, and yarrow is just beautifully smelling, huh? Mid-April. I'll show you guys around. Let me just stop playing with the yarrow and show you guys around. Right, in this beautiful garden space before the sun goes down, because it is very late. I don't know why I waited so long to do this. We have our sea of beautiful yarrow. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at this. Move my hand. Absolutely stunning. I already have some of this actually drying in the house, so I don't need any more yarrow, but I might take about half of this so it doesn't block out the tomatoes. But all down this row, if you can see it before the sun goes behind the garage, we have some things planted out that are slowly growing. They're all not dead yet, but with the rain coming, it should be better. We do have some of our zinnias and a nice weed right here. I do have our zinnias. I can't remember which ones I planted, but they should be all different colors. And this beautiful little marigold here. We have our Dr. Witchies. We have our basil here. It's lettuce leaf basil here. And then the only survivor. And then I think we have some cinnamon basil here. Yep, cinnamon basil. And then you have another Dr. Witchies here. There's some more basil. And then look at this mugwort forest. I'm actually going to trim this all the way down before it starts to flower and take this in the house so it can dry. It's beautiful, huh? We do have some borage right here. These beautiful flowers. Love perennials. I need to take those and make some type of oil or something. And then another little borage right there. We do have our tiny little tomatoes. This is a mystery tomato, but I'm pretty sure it might be Cherokee Purple because only those tomatoes actually are doing really well this year. Everything else is just bombing. Another yarrow patch there. And I do need to get some insect spray or something for this kale just to have it help. I had to take the garbage can off of it because it was starting to stunt it a little bit, but there's some holes something is eating. I have a San Marzano there that actually looks a little better. So, tomato row. Have our golden seal here going crazy. It's actually expanding. It's wonderful. Hopefully it takes over this entire bed, but it's going to take it years to do that. And then over here in the tomato bed where the comfrey flowers are going to be here, I need to like cut these down before they drop their seeds. But we have all of our peppers, which have actually tripled in size. I mean, look at this one. Now I do need to take the flower heads off of these because they're not small. They're not big enough yet to actually be producing fruit. It'll stunt the plant, so I remove these little things here just to let the plant get a little bigger. And these are actually growing in partial shade and they're doing really well for it, so We have another kale here that needs to be released because it's getting eaten up. So probably need to go find some, put it here. Probably need to find some diatomaceous earth. And then the tomatoes here. We have some bindweed coming up. I mean, not tomatoes, but the peppers. One here too, but the asparagus is blocking it. This actually needs to be cut down. I'm just not really in the mood to do it today. But the stinging nettle is huge, so it definitely needs to be trimmed. And I would like to actually take it before it puts on flowers. Although I do need to definitely soak it in some vinegar solution, because look at the ants in that area. Probably farming aphids. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, definitely probably farming aphids. And then we have our chamomile over here, still growing strong. Let's pinch this off. And chamomile bed over here. And then along this way we do have our okra bed, which has some zinnias in it. A little bit of asparagus. We have some peas that are hanging in there. And looks like the okra is doing well. Might not actually need the trash cans after a while. I do have some okra growing in the house just in case these decided not to make it or to stunt. But I'll give it a few more days, especially with the rains coming. This one might actually need to be replaced. It doesn't look like it's grown any. But a few of these look actually pretty nice. Then over here we have our Cherokee purple tomatoes with some peas. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but isn't that color beautiful? I mean, look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. These are purple potted peas. I didn't know that the color was so nice. But over here we have our Cherokee purple tomatoes, and then another garbage can that should come off of this. The tomatoes seem to be doing fine. And this is supposed to be a mullein here, but it's not actually getting of any size. I wonder if maybe it's just a first year plant, because the other one I planted actually is starting to get taller. Over here with the comfrey as well. And then we do have our okra in here. And one little eggplant, which is growing, but it's not too big, so I don't know if it's going to make it. And then we do have some new asparagus that came up. Just so nice. Look at that. And then a zinnia, and we do also have our our bee balm that's coming up as well. Oh, look at that. These are the asparagus I actually just planted last week, and they all started to come up, so I guess the roots did survive. Look at that. You know, asparagus is finicky. You'll plant a couple of roots and they may not take. But these actually look like they took pretty well. Which is good. I need some more green asparagus in the garden space. Isn't that beautiful? Purple potted peas from Baker's Creek. Beautiful flowers. If nothing else, the flowers are absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. We have a mess, essentially. I do got to take some of the chives, but the flowers are gorgeous. We do have our peas that are slowly trellising up. And then we do have some very tiny sun sugar cherry tomatoes still in the cups, but this one is actually doing relatively well. But I do need to cut the chives. I think they're actually blocking the sunlight. We have some hyssop over here. Beautiful. I need to try to figure out what to use that for. I think it's tea. I need to confirm exactly what I'm using it for. But the smell, I don't know. It's mild. And then we do have all of our peppers in these containers, and they've actually gotten pretty huge. Cayenne peppers and the poblano hot peppers. And I bet they'll do even better with some rain. And the soil was fertilized with chicken poop, pelletized chicken poop. We also have our catnip in this container, which my cat is loving right now. We have our lemon balm, which actually we should be able to be cut in about a week or so. Washed and cut. Look at the thyme. Beautiful little flowers. We do have our hyssop, our St. John's wort. What is this? That's hyssop. The other one was St. John's wort. So we have our hyssop over here. We have our banana mint, which is getting eaten up by some cucumber beetles, I think, but for the most part it's growing in pretty well. Lavender is growing in pretty strong. And then some more lemon balm and chocolate mint, which always is a contender for growth in the garden space, but it does look like it's having some bug pressure, so all of these can probably be cut in a little bit. And then we also have some more chocolate mint in these two containers. And then in the garden space, we do have some plants that actually could be harvested now. The weather is so weird. I would think that actually the lettuce would actually do better with the direct sunlight, but with the temperatures dropping really low at night, I don't know what's going on. The weather's weird. The Paris Island lettuce can definitely be harvested from now. I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. The Merlot lettuce is definitely ready. The Mizuna is ready. Might be trying to go to seed, but you can harvest from this now. Just chop the head and it'll grow back. The arugula is actually trying to go to seed. I actually pulled a flower head from this one, but I think the leaves are still edible. So I'm going to actually start pulling from this plant now, hoping to stop it from going to seed. I'm a little disappointed with the purple bok choy because 2 years prior when I did grow this, it absolutely was amazing. The color was very vibrant. I'm not exactly sure what's happening with this plant. It looks a little stunted, like it got cold damage, but I don't know. Hopefully the rain helps it, and maybe I'll give it a little bit of fertilizer. But I actually expected some. Actually, it looks like it might be trying to go to seed. Look at that at the bottom. And that sucks. We haven't even gotten a harvest from it yet. And then this lettuce doesn't look like it had any type of insect damage, but it is relatively small. So we'll see what it decides to do. We do have our tatsoi, which is actually hanging in there. And then our Merlot lettuce never has any issues, so it's doing perfectly fine. And then our leeks are actually doing really well as well. So the salad bed is doing pretty okay. I do need to start harvesting from it now. I will probably fertilize it with some diluted fish fertilizer, which I have. It's also mixed with comfrey fertilizer as well, just before it starts to rain to give them a little bit of a boost. But these plants, I did actually bury food scraps underneath of their roots, and so as it rains, as it starts to deteriorate, as the worms start to eat the food waste, they should hopefully perk up. And with the weather, with the temperatures increase, because right now we are still getting temperatures that dip down to the 40s at night. I'm hoping once that raises up, they'll actually be better. So we'll see. And then I did set up a little makeshift water rain barrel here. Not the most perfect thing, but it is an old garbage can that I had. I had it over by the elderberry patch. I emptied out some water from here, but it is connected. Use what you have, and this is what I had. I have it propped up, and then I have some extra water that I popped from there that I'm going to use to fertilize the garden space. And at some point, I actually hope to have a second one here and have it kind of run and automatically water the beds in the back when I rebuild those, and then also water the salad bed as well, because that would be really nice. So at some point, there's going to be two here, and or a bigger one, maybe a huger one. We have our oregano patch here, which is doing wonderful. And then the raspberry jungle. I haven't cut anything yet because I'm not exactly sure if it's dead or just delayed because we're having colder temperatures at night. But some of these need to be trimmed. I do believe that some of these are dead. But I'm going to give them a few more weeks and then I'll start to trim everything back. But I did expect them to trellis more before they started putting on berries, but it looks like they're trying to put on fruit now, trying to put on flowers. And I kind of think it's a little early, but look at that. There are flower buds all over. So, and they're spreading like crazy. So hopefully they pick up some size and actually trellis up. I did cut a lot of the comfrey, just hoping that to give the other plants some space. And so I do see some more asparagus growing in right here. And then after I take a few more, I'm actually going to let them just grow out like this one. And for those of you guys who didn't know, this is asparagus. If you don't trim it, if you don't break it apart, how huge this thing is. This thing is bigger than me. Look at this. I don't know, for those who need to see it, look, this thing is almost taller than me. It's crazy. It's healthy too, and I think it's a female, has the flower buds on it. It's huge. So look at these strawberries. I mean, the plants themselves are pretty huge. We had a lot of rain when they planted in though. And then one of them actually had a baby coming off of them, which has successfully rooted and is getting huge, so that's a bonus plant. I mean, look at the size of the flowers. I need to do something about the pill bugs and the slugs because they've gotten out of control. But it looks like the plants can handle their own. They're established now. And even the surviving strawberry plant that I had last year is actually thriving and trying to put on a flower, but I've been taking the flowers off of this one. I need it to actually grow a little bigger. And then this is putting on another offshoot, so I'll probably go right there. Look at all of those pollinators inside of those flowers. For those people that are terrified of the ants in their garden spaces, ants are also pollinators, so you don't want to kill them abruptly, especially if they're not really doing anything. They pollinate your flowers. And this one as well. It's beautiful. And just some base level grass clippings to trap in some of the moisture in this bed. And close it up. And then outside of some weeding, we also have a blackberry patch, which is doing amazing. And it also has flowers on it now. I need to figure out a way to cover these because the squirrels got me last year. There's another very healthy patch right there coming up. And then we have another one, look at this, coming up as well as a sea of elderberry. So I'm definitely going to need to kind of trim this back. I don't want it to be a bush here, but we do have some flowers coming in here as well. Look at this. Now our persimmon I thought was dead. It's not dead, but it is kind of branching out from the base. It doesn't look like any of these branches are alive. I don't see any type of life inside of the branches. It's had for like 3 years, and I'm glad I didn't actually cut it down. And you can see the difference. These offshoots here are from the grafted area, and these at the bottom are from the original plant. So I'm actually been pulling these off, and I'm going to have to actually take those off as well. They're not the same variety, but I'm glad I didn't cut it down. It is still alive. And then we do have our fig coming in. None of the branches at this point I think are alive, but we do have the fig is coming in at multiple points from the root. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is completely gone. So I'll trim these down as the plant grows. And we have way too many peas in one location, but I get that. And then I also did plant some pole beans in as well, although I think that was a mistake. I started those in the house and just planted them out, but there might be too many things in this bed, so I'm probably going to reseed in about a month or so, or maybe start them back in the house, and then when the peas die out, I'll just replant the bed because it might be too much going on in this garden space. Like this. One thing about peas, you have to constantly like trellis them up. They don't kind of they don't necessarily do it by themselves, which sucks. Gotta figure it out. Look at that. I just want to show you guys my mullein. It's a second-year mullein plant. It's actually starting to go up, and I didn't know this was two separate plants until it started to sprout two separate heads. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.